Hi friends, welcome to distance learning, virtual learning with Miss Poole. Got my apron on, I'm ready to learn, and I have a book that I loved when I was a little girl. And I wanted to share it with you because sometimes, you know what? We all have horrible, terrible, no good, very bad, rotten, awful, the worst days you could ever imagine kind of days. The kind of days where nothing seems to go right. We all have these days. So I want to share with you one of my favorite books from when I was little. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. The author of this book, or the writer, is Judith Viorst. Viorst. I wonder how you pronounce that. The illustrator, who can tell me what the illustrator does? The illustrator makes the pictures, remember? The author does the words, that's Judith Viorst, and the illustrator does the pictures, that's Ray Cruz. So Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. That's the title of our book. The front cover, the spine. Everybody feel your spine, how it makes you stand up straight. And the back. Are you ready for our story? Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Viorst, illustrated by Ray Cruz. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth. And now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard. And by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running. And I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. I think he feels kind of alone, not a part of things. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Miss Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend and that what I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off the cone part and lands in Australia. I think he's kind of feeling left out again. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on the top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Period. That's what it was. Because after school, my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. He looks a little frustrated. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot while we were waiting for my mom to get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then when I started to cry because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. And doesn't look kind. Doesn't sound like his brothers were being kind. While I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. I'm having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I told everybody. No one even answered. Period. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But then the shoe man said, "We're all sold out." They made me buy plain old white ones. But they can't make me wear them. His brothers both look kind of happy. But does he? When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, except for my elbow. He also said, don't fool around with his phones. But I think I called Australia. My dad said, please, don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Period. Mommy and Daddy look a little exasperated, kind of worn out, worn to the max. Done. Have you ever seen your parents look exasperated? There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limas. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. And I hate My railroad train pajamas. Does he look happy or sad? Why do you think he wouldn't like those pajamas? When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep. And the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. Even in Australia. That's the end of our book. I want you to think about some things. What made that a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day for Alexander? What were the things that, upset him? What didn't go right for him? Have you ever gone to the shoe store and they didn't have the shoes you wanted in your size? Have you ever gone to the dentist and had a cavity? That's why we gotta brush our teeth. Floss them. Every morning, after lunch, and before bed. Or when we get home from school. But right now you're homeschooling. Where is Australia? What continent is that a part of? I can't wait to hear what you guys have to think. I hope you enjoyed our story. Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. The author writes the words, Judith Viorst, and it's illustrated, that's the pictures, by Ray Cruz. Peace. I love you.